Hi, today I'm going to walk you through how to prepare for the Cyber Patriot 6 exhibition round. To start, we're going to need the exhibition round pre-competition email, which was sent to all registered coaches on the 10th of July 2013. As with any pre-competition email, you should definitely read this thoroughly to make sure that there's nothing new in here that you don't already know. But for the purpose at hand, what we're going to need is the instructions link, which is on the second line of the second paragraph. Clicking that link is going to open up this PDF document here. I cannot stress this enough, but it's absolutely vital that your team read every bit of this document before trying to compete, especially in a qualification round. While some of the information will remain the same from one round to the next, you are likely to find round-specific information that can be of great use during qualification rounds and can save you a lot of headaches on the day of competition. For the purposes of this demonstration, though, we're going to go into the third page and looking for this download URL here and this checksum beneath it. I'm going to go ahead and copy the checksum now, so we'll need that in just a moment. But you can single left click this link, and depending on what browser you're using and how it's set up, it may start downloading automatically. It may ask you if you want to run it, open it, or save it. You definitely want to save it, and I would encourage you to do so to the desktop so you can find it easily later, but that's entirely up to you. Once that file is downloaded, it's going to appear like this. Keep in mind, this is a Windows 7 host system that I'm using, so if you're using an older version of Windows or a Mac or what have you, it may look a little bit different, but it'll be something along the lines of this. The first thing that I want to do is verify the checksum of this file to ensure that it wasn't corrupted or truncated during the download process. To do that, I'm going to use this WinMD5 checksum program from Null River. It's freely available online. You can get other versions at winmd5.com. Like I said, it's free, and it's a useful tool that can save you a lot of headache. So you can either you can click and drag this file onto the window and release it there, or you can click this box here and then navigate to the file that you've saved on your machine. Either way works, they're identical. Once it calculates this checksum, we're going to compare it to the one provided by the Cyber Patriot Program Office by copying and pasting it into this box. You then click compare, and we see that the MD5 checksums are the same. That's good. If it comes back and says that they are not the same for any reason, you're going to need to download that file again. That means that something happened to it during the download process and it will not work. So delete it and start over. Since it works for us, go ahead and get this out of the way. So now I need to extract the contents of this file. Since, like I said, I'm using Windows 7, Windows 7 has that zip functionality built into it. However, you can use 7-zip or WinZip or any third-party zip client, and it'll be largely the same set of steps. You're just looking for the extract all option wherever you are, and go ahead and do that. Now, as you can see here, I've already got a copy extracted to my desktop for this demonstration, so I'm going to select another location just so we can see how the process works. So when you hit extract, the first thing it'll ask you for is the password. That password you can find in the StartX email that went out to all registered coaches on the 15th of July. So I'm just going to copy that from here, the password, paste it in, and hit OK. That's all there is to it. It can take, depending on the speed of your host system, it can take a little while, up to 10 or 15 minutes. These are very large files, so just be patient. I'm going to cancel it because, like I said, I've already gone through this step ahead of the demonstration. Once you've got the contents extracted, it's going to be a file folder looking much like this. And just a quick side note here, you can see, if you're not real familiar with this stuff, why it's very confusing to tell a file folder from a zip file. They look very much alike. The only way you can distinguish them is that the file folder is open and shows pages in it, and the zip file has a zipper around it. The other thing is that when you double click on the zip file, you'll see this extract all files option up here. That again will always be a dead giveaway that this is a zip file that you're looking at. To open the extracted copy of the image, you can do that a couple different ways. You can either open it up in Windows Explorer like I'm doing here and double click on this file. This is the only file that you can double click on and have it run the image. It's the VMware Virtual Machine Configuration file. It's a VMX file extension. So if you see any other icon, it's not going to work double clicking it. The other way that you can start the image is starting up VMware Player. And you can click on Open a Virtual Machine here. It's the second option on the right. Again, you would just navigate to where you've saved that virtual machine that you've extracted, and you'll double click. You notice here that the VMX file is the only one displayed, so you can just double click that and the machine will start right up. So once you've gone ahead and booted the virtual machine, you're going to be looking at a Windows desktop just like this. The very first thing that you want to do in any image, be it exhibition, practice, qualification, first thing is you need to double click the Cyber Patriot Set Team shortcut. That's going to open up this dialog box here. For the exhibition rounds, you're only going to use your Cyber Patriot 6 team numbers. That's going to be 06 and then a 4-digit number. If this was an actual qualification round of competition, you would be using your 9-digit alphanumeric hash, which we'll issue a little bit later as we get closer to competition rounds. But for the exhibition rounds, just enter your team number. Now keep in mind that it's going to come back and say this is an invalid team ID. Save anyway? Yes. If this was an actual qualification round, now would be the time to go back and verify that you're entering the correct team hash. If you enter your team hash and you're certain that it's correct and it's still coming back with this message, you need to call the Cyber Patriot program office and we'll get you sorted out. But for the purposes at hand, we're going to go ahead and hit yes. And now I have a message saying that team ID has been saved. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to open up the README file. The README file is going to give you some details about where to start in the image. So for example, this is a machine owned by the Cabo Seafood Corporation. Here it gives me a list of legitimate users. For example, I could use this information to extrapolate who are then not legitimate users. If it tells me who the administrators are, I might look for users that have admin rights that aren't listed as administrators, things like that. Another thing to keep in mind is seemingly inconsequential detail like this last line here, Cabo Seafood also prohibits the presence of any media files and hacking tools on any workstations. Well, a good thing to do might be look for media files and hacking tools. These are the kinds of details that you want to get your team into the habit of looking at, especially for actual qualification rounds during competition. So for now, since I know what the vulnerabilities are going into it, I'm going to go ahead and open up the services menu. And I'm going to go ahead, you can expand this so you can see the full name. And I'm going to scroll down here to Telnet. Now, this was previously running, but I've gone in and disabled it and stopped it because I just want to show you how to fix a vulnerability. So if this instead said automatic and was started, you just go ahead and set it to disabled and stop it. But I've already gone ahead and done that for the purposes of this demonstration. Now to check your progress during any round of Cyber Patriot competition, just go ahead and double click on the scoring report on the desktop. Now here you'll see that Microsoft Telnet service has been stopped and it's earned me 10 out of 100 points. So that's how you fix a vulnerability. There's really not much to it. The one thing that you want to keep in mind is that there can be up to a 2-minute delay between fixing the vulnerability and having it display on the scoring report page. That's just the way that CCS works. It's really not designed to be real-time feedback in the true sense of the term. So, you know, I would definitely encourage you to advise your competitors to be cautious, or to be patient rather, in when they're fixing vulnerabilities, because like I said, it can be up to 2 minutes before that, even if it is an actual vulnerability, before that gets displayed here on the scoring report page. There are a couple other things that I just want to draw your attention to here. The report generated time will tell you when the last time that CCS looked for vulnerabilities on the system. So if it's only been, you know, a minute or 30 seconds or so since your last scoring report check, make sure that your team knows that they need to wait. The next thing on here is the approximate running time. When you start your image, this will obviously start from 0. I opened this up a couple hours ago to get ready for this. But this is, as the name implies, only an approximate running time. Don't base your decision making during competition off of this time. Below that is the current team ID. This is the team number that I've entered. During actual rounds of competition where you're using your hash, it's always a good idea to go back and make sure that you've entered your hash correctly, because if you haven't, then your team may not be credited for what it does during competition. Finally, I just want to show you the connection status report here. As long as it says good here next to connection status, you're all set. You don't need to worry about it. However, if any of these subchecks below it say errors reported or errors detected, things like that, you're going to need to figure out what that problem is. The first one is whether or not the scoring client can reach Google. The only times that I've seen this fail are when schools are routing their internet traffic through a proxy server and blocking access to Google. So that's a pretty uncommon one. However, issues with these bottom two are not what I would call common by any means, but they do happen. If for whatever reason your school's network is blocking outbound connections to the scoring server, or if it's stripping off the scoring reports which are encrypted, which like I said does happen, not very often, That's something you'll need to take up with your school's network administrator or IT department, because obviously we at the Cyber Patriot Program Office can't make changes to your network for you. So if they have any questions, you can of course have them contact the Cyber Patriot Program Office, and we're happy to talk to them. Well, I hope you found this helpful. If you guys have any questions, you can go to afa.adobeconnect.com/cpoc. You can email us at info@uscyberpatriot.org, or you can call us at the Cyber Patriot Operations Center during East Coast business hours for the duration of the exhibition round. All that contact information can be found in the instructions document. So if you have any questions, please let us know. Good luck.